Hi, it's Keith here. I wanted to do a quick video to show you and talk about the latest camera from Poly. Now last year, due to a lot of the issues that we had around shipping and freight and parts and everything due to this global pandemic, we saw a couple of pretty good cameras from Poly unfortunately go end of life due to shortages. So those were the Eagle IQ, which was a great camera for a small and even medium room size space. And then we also lost the Eagle Eye Director 2, which was a great camera for spaces as big as 10 meters and had a lot of other cool functionality as well. And so those were great cameras, but to kind of fill this gap that we have, Poly have released the E70 camera. So it's the latest camera from Poly that's designed to kind of sit in that medium to large room space. Now it doesn't quite fit the smaller room space that the Eagle Eye Cube worked for, but we've got other options for that as well, such as the Poly Studio. But we had this kind of missing area in the market for this medium to large space for a pretty good quality camera. And so Poly have come out with the E70 camera that has two 20 megapixel 4K sensors. These two lenses on it that provide both near and far views with 120 degree views on one and a 70 degree horizontal field of view on the other, so that it does a really good job doing speaker tracking, group framing, and it's going to be doing what's called the conversational mode, which I have yet to see that, but I think that's going to be a really cool feature where it picks out two people in a room talking and combines them side by side rather than the very wide view. And so, yeah, it comes with a lot of cool features. It's kind of built and designed off Poly's Director AI, which is basically the brains behind Poly's video experiences. So yeah, I wanted to take you through this camera. We've got it. I want to take you through what's in the box. And I want to kind of show you some things to consider when you do get it, what you might need to consider purchasing as well, what might come with it, what doesn't. So there's a bit to consider on that, so I wanted to take you through it. But before we jump in, I just wanted to let you know that it is certified for Zoom rooms. It works with Poly's native app, and then as of very, very recently, it's now been certified for Microsoft Teams rooms. And so this can plug into either the G7500 or the Microsoft Teams room on Windows devices such as the Poly G10. And so there's a few other options coming out that it will work with as well, but those are the two key ones. So plugging it into a Teams room on Windows, such as the Poly G10 or the G7500. So luckily that certification has just come. It was a bit of a nice Christmas present over the break to come back to. And so what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into my Poly G10 after we go through the unboxing, and we're going to have a look at what it is capable of. So let's jump into it. All right, so here we are with our Poly Studio E70 camera in the box. So let's go through, find out what's in the box, and more importantly, what's not in the box. All right, so what we've got here first is this will be our wall mounting kit. So this is designed to go above or below your TV. It's got the brace that goes on the wall, the kit that mounts against it, and then it's got a little piece here, which I'll show you what goes in that in just a moment. We've also got our packet of kind of support documentation, health and safety stuff, certification things, but most importantly, we've got our wall mount template so that you can use that so that you can accurately mount your wall bracket on the wall. All right, what we've also got is this is the rest of our wall mount kit. It comes in a couple of pieces, and so this will be used to mount the camera on top of, and this will slot inside and clip in place so that you can get it where you need to be on the wall. And So that will help you get that. And as well as that, we've also got the screws that go with the mounting kit as well, including the piece that will mount the camera to the bottom of the camera to the wall mount bracket. So those will go in that. And then, of course, we've got our instructions. So we've got our starting guide. So feel free to have a look through that. And if you get stuck and can't remember what needs to go where. All right. And then we've got our camera itself. So this, as you can see, it's got two cameras with 4K sensors, one wide field 120 degree camera with a shorter field of view, depth of view, and then we've got a 70-degree camera with a much longer depth of view. And so these together is what gives it the smarts to be able to pick out who's speaking in the audience and zoom in on them with one of the two cameras. So it can zoom either far. It's roughly about 25 feet, 7 point something odd meters away, but it will be able to pick up people in the back of a typical large meeting room. With the long view camera, or with the short, it can pick up people at the front as well. So good camera there. This is where we've got our mounting bracket, so that's where it goes. What you don't get is a TV mount. So if you want to mount this on top of your screen, you can actually get the same mount that comes with the Poly Studio X30 or the Poly Studio P15. So it's the same mount that you get, which I have right here. So this will just mount onto the bottom of that, and will allow you to mount it onto the TV screen itself. And that's what we'll be using when we set up for the demo as well. Then we've got a little panel to where the cables go. You've got an Ethernet port. Now this is designed for power over Ethernet in order to power the camera. So this camera does need to be powered. And it also has an AC adapter. So if you do need power in the room that you might not already have, you can actually order an AC cable, a power cable from Poly as well to be able to power this up. And then of course we've got our USB-C port for plugging into the compute, such as the Poly G10 Teams Room device, and then our little reset switch as well. So some important things to know about the power. The recommendation right now is to just go with a PoE injector. It doesn't have to be PoE plus, it can just be standard PoE, unlike the Trio C60s, which require PoE plus. So just get a standard PoE adapter. They're generally like 30 to 40 bucks. Probably cheaper depending on where you get them from. But just go with the PoE adapter for now. And that's the easiest way to get the power to the camera where you need it to be. Cool, so that's that. And so let's look at what else we get in the box. So we get the Ethernet cable, so we get a fairly long Ethernet cable. So when you're running your PoE adapter or PoE injector, then this is what you would use to do that. And then, of course, our USB-C to USB-A cable as well. So that's what you get in the box. So now let's jump into how the camera actually works. Okay, so we're back. We've set up the room. So I have my Poly Studio E70 plugged into a Poly G10 Teams Room on Windows, and well, it's not certified. I'm currently just using my my Sync 20 speakerphone to connect, and I've got that kind of halfway between me and the room system. We're sitting in a room that is about 8 by 10 meters, and you'll see this is kind of at the top end of its viewable area. And so you'll see that I'm sitting about 9 meters away from the camera. It has picked me up. It has zoomed in kind of on me as best it can, but it won't do a proper speaker framing due to the fact that I'm just outside of its zoom range. But it's still good enough for the foreign viewers to be able to see me while I'm talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up and I'm going to move to about 4.5 meters. And then from about 4.5 meters, I'll then move to about 2.5 meters. And so just so you know, it's a bit of a weird shaped room that I'm in. This is one of our old smart meeting rooms that doesn't really get much use anymore. So it's great from testing the space, but not great from trying to have a proper Teams meeting around the table. But it is pretty good and pretty interesting. So if you're wondering why we've got this kind of weird table set up, it's the way that we set up these smart meeting rooms. All right, so as I said, I'm going to move to about 4.5 meters. You'll watch how the camera switches to me there. And then I will move to about 2.5 meters from the camera, sitting kind of relatively close because the camera is sitting on top of the screen. So it'll be a pretty close thing. So as I move in, let's have a look and see how that adjusts. Okay, so you'll see it's picked me up. I've moved. I am about 4.5 meters in. It now sees me. I'm talking. I move my hands a little bit so the director AI can kind of pick me up. And the more I start talking and it realizes that there's nobody else in the room with me, within a couple seconds, you should probably see it start to pick me up and zoom in. Yep. So there it goes. It's now isolated me as the speaker in the room, and it's zoomed in. So what you'll notice is on this camera here, compared to some of the other cameras in the past, is that in the settings, you don't actually define speaker tracking versus group framing or any of the other new capabilities coming out. You basically decide how tight you want the frame and how fast you want the painting to take place, especially given that it's electronic paint tilt zoom. And so it will automatically detect based on the number of people in the room, the people talking, to decide if it needs to focus in on one speaker or if it moves to a group or it moves into conversation mode. If somebody was on the other side of the room talking with me as well, and we were both communicating, then the user should be able to see both of us. I have yet to see that feature in the wild. I'm sure it'll be pretty cool when it does, but hopefully we'll be able to see that soon. But yeah, so without further ado, so this is 4.5 meters. I'm now going to move into 2.5 meters, just inside that wide field range. So we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so this is me at 2.5 meters. It has now picked me up. I'm really close to the TV here. And so I can see that it's now picked me up. It's actually squared in on me pretty quickly because I am just within inside that camera range pretty well. And so yeah, so it still looks pretty good. And so yeah, so I've done this. I've moved around the room. In this size room, I did have the camera in the center of the long wall, and so I was on the outside edges of where that camera can pick up from its width. And so I thought a better test would be maybe the depth of the room, because this is typically how we'd set it up. But if you're in a pretty wide room, so if it is a 10-meter wide room, just know that the people on the kind of the edges of that 10 meters, say 8 or 9 meters wide, are probably going to struggle to get picked up in the camera well. So really what you want is it to be on the short side of the room, so it has that longer view. It's a lot more optimized for that. But yes, that's pretty good. So otherwise, it just comes down to table positioning. So maybe you don't put your table quite as close to the camera if you do need to put it on the wide side of the room. But yeah, so I think that looks great. So yeah, if there's any questions, anything, just reach out and I'll see if I can answer them for you. But thanks for watching. I hope it was informative. I hope it's useful. And yeah,